8th tonight.
A field of 33 cars, packed house here at the Louisville Motor Speedway. A lot of people wandering around, coming back from the pit areas. The guys that didn't make it in, Pat Morneau, Tom Merrick, Randy Larson, Ray Skilton, also had Russ Gamester. Two enlisted drivers who won't start. They qualified, however.
It's a huge disappointment. Russ Gamester, the open wheeler turned stock car racer, locked in a 16th best time in time trials yesterday. The engine problem was unresolvable. The road is spectator.
Chevrolet. That takes one of the Chevy out of the huge contingency bonus here. One of the Chevrolet cars is able to win. Look at this.
Well, it rolls over race to race. If a Chevy driver doesn't win, he gets advantage. It's accumulated to the next race, $4,000 in profits. Won 5 successive races. Got a Chevrolet victory, $20 grand. You know, I kind of expected maybe some of the General Motors drivers to run action.
Well, one of the Chevy guys
went from the pole in the Pontiac to get another race.
Some consider him to be the leader, perhaps, in that race, and that's number 53, Scott Hansen.
It's interesting that the borrowed Chevrolet, and Roger Raymansfield, 4th when he's finished. He was talking to Scott Hansen after the race, and said, "You're going to run that Chevy next week, right? It's not really wants that 20 grand. It's 20 grand. Probably the guy who said the worst one to save Bob Sutton.
Will it make one lap? Next to him, of course, Gary Sagamon, back in his Ford Thunderbird in the black and yellow colors. He drove that red for himself in the 4th place finish last week at I-70 Speedway. Circling the track, get ready to go green. And that's what we've all been waiting for here. It's very interesting, unusual, exciting. A lot of different descriptions about what you're saying.
We don't get nowhere that way, man.
Well, not a very good time to have a problem as Roger Slack, the flag man for the American Speed Association, is getting ready to go green as we speak. Got one sideways. The first shot back here, and probably the worst news that any of these drivers in the tail end of the field could have ever possibly wanted. Mike Miller involved briefly, but he was able to quickly get back going again. The others not having such
roll, Dennis, roll, no, stand up. That boy, okay, he's up.
Racing here, some of his own fans and Tony Rover all involved. I think this one necessitated a restart.
Everybody was playing.
It's all prediction in terms of
the longest one trigger there looks like see a lot of guys, most of them missed each other.
We never start over, Dave.
Either he got tapped.
Looking at the front of the race right now, it's going to be difficult, some say, for two groups to develop on this track. Passing will be
Trouble in turn 3.
Talking about the field, if we look at the back of the field, we're trying to catch it very quickly. The whole field was covered by only 1.379 seconds of qualifying. By less than half a second. A lot of parity up for the Americans. Go to Simulation. The ACW Challenge Series will be a great contest all season long. We're still trying to keep Roger Bluegrass 300 underway. You know what?
trouble up in turn number 4.
The bumper is loose and off now. It's up to
2 cars involved. The number 09.
You see it? Interesting, isn't it, Brian? That even
okay, we're on the track.
Problems up in turn number 4. 2 cars involved. Car number 09, Chris Miles out of Arvada, Colorado. And the second car involved, the number 61 of Tracy Schuler out of Lockport, Illinois. Got together in turn number 4. It looked like minor damage to either one of the cars, and I believe they'll both be able to get back into the race, Barry, as the field now forms up down on the backstretch area behind the ASA safety car.
Guys went in late, man. 0961. Give me slow, Danny. I mean, I need about 2 shooters. You guys just did about halfway
Under
down.
caution, it gives us an opportunity to cut away for some very important messages. Waiting patiently for the green flag to come out again.
You want to go on up and get you, Jay.
They got one good crowd down there.
Car number 15 is under a lot of pressure from the 25 car, Tony Reigns. And Reigns looks to have a very good car here today. And one thing for sure, Tony Reigns is over.
Good job.
It would be good to happen if he can stay out of trouble for the remaining laps in the Kroger BLUEGRASS 300.
You gave it 2-5.
Once again,
they're taping the rear
tractors
definitely
around Speedway back on all the debris and getting ready to go back to the green flag. Now, word is this time Roger Slack will have 12. We'll signify that he's really got to be right out of the way from the restart in the Kroger BLUEGRASS 300. Right as he took the lead,
Yeah, we're looking through here. This is where we watch Eddie run this second here, man. He's way off by his totally feels good there.
Let's get a big number to move. Still be all right.
Ready to put them back under green in the BLUEGRASS 300 as Mike Eddy of Midland, Michigan leads the field out of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. The number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. of Grand Rapids, Michigan, currently running at second as they move on to the backstretch area. Gary St. Amant takes a look to the inside of Tony Reigns there momentarily for third as the field moves over to turn number 4. Onto the front straightaway with Mike Eddy out front. Glenn Allen Jr. running at second. The number 25 of Tony Reigns goes third. Gary St. Amant up to fourth. And at fifth, it'll be Steve Holtzhausen as they move on to the backstretch area. Out of turn number 3 and onto the front straightaway. Single file into turn number 2 now. Moving up to the number 6 place position. It's car number 1, Jay Sauter out of West Salem, Wisconsin. And again, the top 10 look pretty much in single file formation as they head back towards turn number 1. A 2-car breakaway for the lead between Mike Eddy and Glenn Allen Jr. And there's trouble up in turn number 4. 1 car involved, car number 93.
I can tell how to number these turns exactly, but nevertheless, 93 car, I don't think so. Not that right direction. Back out on the racetrack.
Alec Pinsonault of Windsor, Ontario, spinning up at turn number 4. Car number 93 bringing out this latest caution flag period in the Kroger BLUEGRASS 300.
I didn't hit 93.
Yeah, he's fun. He's good to see, man. That car down again.
Getting set for the restart as Mike Eddy in car number 88, the Goodwrench Performance Parts Pontiac, leads the field over to turn number 3.
The fans are settling in for what promises.
As they move out of the 4th turn, the green flag is back out with Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 15 holding close to second. The number 25 of Tony Reigns goes third. Gary St. Amant up to 4th, and then rounding out the top 5, car number 78, Steve Holtzhausen.
the last place car, that's Alex.
They're in single file onto the front straightaway and back into turns 1 and 2 now with 27 laps completed in the Kroger Bluegrass 300 here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway. Taking a look at the race leader, Mike Eddy, now building up about a car length advantage now, only about 1 car length over Glenn Allen Jr., and they're back into turns 1 and 2. Moving in behind the number 37 machine. Trouble coming out of turn number 4 and on the front straightaway. 2 cars tangling. Car number 61, Tracy Schuler, and car number 26, the second car involved.
There's the number 26 car, Bill Barrett, who lives very nearby, and we would have expected that he would have had a lot of track time here on this brand new racetrack, but he liked all of it.
And we're back under caution again in the Kroger Bluegrass 300. Getting set to go back green now is Mike Eddy in car number 88. Leads the field out of turn number 3 into turn number 4. And the green flag is back out. It looks like Harold Fair in car number 81 has a right rear tire flat on his machine, and he's headed for pit road. Car number 81, Harold Fair, will watch his pit stop as the right rear tire is flat on his machine, and the number 81 comes to a stop on pit road. It's 1 lap down to the race leaders at this point. As the right side of the car goes up, they're changing right side rubber on Harold Fair's automobile. Back with the race leader, Mike Eddy, out of Midland, Michigan, and the number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. as they head for turn number 3. They've opened up a little bit of daylight now. Back to third place, Gary St. Amant in car number 7, who has gotten around the number 25 of Tony Raines as they move over to turn number 2. St. Amant now in the Wynn's Oil Treatment Special is currently in the number 3 position. A 2-car breakaway for the lead as Mike Eddy leads the field back into turns 1 and 2. The number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. is currently at second out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And those 2 cars are now moving in on some slower lap traffic. Car number 37, David Anspog of Sturgis, Michigan, set to go 1 lap down now as the race leaders move back into turns 1 and 2. Picking up now with the 5th and 6th place running automobile, and now we've got a battle. No, we don't. It's the 37 going 1 lap down to the 7 of St. Amant now into turns 1 and 2. Tony Raines in 25 now working the outside. And then it's the number 78 of Steve Holtzhausen moving in. Once again running in the number 5 position. Then going 6th, it's car number 1, Jay Sauter, as they move back into turns 1 and 2. Then move up the number 52 of Butch Miller in the Ford Thunderbird, followed by the number 33 as they chases him through traffic. Brad Loney. Moving in now, our race leaders. Car number 88, Mike Eddy, moving in behind the number 81 of Harold Fair to put him at least another lap down as he made that unscheduled pit stop as they move out of turn number 2. Now Glenn Allen chases down Eddy, and they overlap on the outside as they head for turn number 3. Gary St. Amant at third place now has closed in on our race leaders, and we've got a 3-car battle for the lead as they head for turn number 1. Out of turn number 2 now, we're watching the number 25 of Tony Raines and the number 78 of Steve Holtzhausen working the lap traffic, bringing along the number 1 of Jay Sauter as they move onto the front straightaway and back into turns 1 and 2. And a consultation, black flag put out on car number 37 as the ASA officials want to have a look at David Anspog's machine. Race leader Mike Eddy into turns 1 and 2, moving in behind the number 16 as they move over to turn number 2. And the number 16, John Freeman, who started last in the field, is now 1 lap down to the race leaders. They continue working the lap traffic onto the front straightaway. Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 15 up around the outside of one of the slower lap cars. There's Mike Eddy in the number 88 now, taking a look to the inside of car number 90 as they move over to turn number 4. With 48 laps completed. Watching Mike Eddy in car number 88 moving into turn number 4. And some traffic right here at the tail end of the field as Mike Eddy begins reeling them in as they move on to the backstretch area.
Miller's about to go a lap down.
Pulling along on the outside now, taking a look to the inside of Mike Miller's Pontiac going into turn number 1. And the number 3 car got a little bit loose that time in the first turn area.
Hang on.
Dale Conley now going 1 lap down to the race leaders. Here's Gary St. Amant in car number 7 now working the inside of Glenn Allen Jr. And now side by side with the race leader Mike Eddy as they move into turn number 4. St. Amant held up behind a slower automobile, drops back to third once again, and they're back into turns 1 and 2.
Yellow flag. Yeah, like where are they going to look like, right?
Coming up on lap number 55 now in the Kroger Bluegrass 300 as car number 18, Mike Miller, is trying to remain on the lead lap. Mike Eddy in car number 88 now closing in on him, the race leader, the Goodrich Pontiac, takes a look to the inside of Mike Miller as they hit the backstretch area. The number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. continues to run at second with the number 7 of Gary St. Amant at third. They're on the front straightaway, clicking off lap number 56. The race leaders are back into turns 1 and 2.
18, you have to get up there and get around him now.
Miller looking to the outside now of car number 48 as they move down onto the, and there's trouble over in turn number 2. Tom Jones at car number 0, the Fel Pro Racing entry now spinning down to the infield. Tom Jones in car number 0, and it'll bring this field under caution in the Kroger Bluegrass 300.
Zero's dragging with them.
32nd in Toledo and finished 4th at an 8th place run.
In 15th position.
100 as Mike Eddy in the Goodrich Performance Parts Pontiac leads the field over to turn number 4. The green flag is back out, and the Kroger Bluegrass 300 is back underway. Glenn Allen Jr. in second place in car number 15, but Gary St. Amant has been really holding his hand through the first portion of this event. He'll bring that Ford Thunderbird up to third. So number 25 of Tony Raines there in the number 4 position. He's currently working on Harold Fair in car number 81. Now Fair is at least a lap or so down to the field. And Raines, I know, wants to get up front with the race leader, but he'll have to get around Harold Fair to do so. They're back into turns 1 and 2. The number 78 of Steve Holtzhausen continues to run inside the top 5 at the 5th place spot as they move over to turn number 4. And now the number 0 of Tom Jones brings his Fel Pro Pontiac back into the lineup after having the rear panel removed from his Pontiac Grand Prix, and he rejoins the event now about halfway back through the field. The race leader leaders move over to turn number 3 with Mike Eddy out front. And again, we see a 2-car breakaway for the lead as they head for turn number 1. The number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Once again, at second place right behind Mike Eddy as they head for turn number 3 and then to that very challenging 4th turn area and onto the front stretch. They're back into turns 1 and 2. Gary St. Amant at car number 7 now. Over in turn number 2, heads for the backstretch area, and he's got a lot of in trouble up in turn number 4. 1 car involved was car number 71 spinning to the infield. That's A.J. Cooper of Clacamo, Missouri, spinning down to the infield portion of turn number 4. Tony Raines coming in for service. Now the number 71, the 18 are not on the lead lap, but they are making unscheduled stops as well. There's Tony Raines at car number 25, and the crew goes to work on the right side of that automobile. The right side up, the tires off the right side, and the it looks like fuel has been put in, so it looks like he'll be okay so far as fuel goes. Tony Raines in car number 25 pulling back onto the track.
Slowed out once you dump the car, so if I have to, I'll stop them. But I'll put it this time. Okay, I didn't realize you slowed down. They're not going to take it off.
And that's one way to get rid of a fender.
See that start line over there where it says AC Johnson right back there? They're sitting right there.
Okay, Robert, you guys can go right about that.
We're back live.
Racing on 5, continuing the Kroger BLUEGRASS 300. That's number 18 car.
10 cars is down 1, that's all.
Up here at the VIP booth number 2. And joining us is John
Let's get them closed up here, Roger.
President of Super American Group. John, welcome. First time here at Louisville Motor Speedway.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here. This is an outstanding racing day in Kentucky. And thanks for Super American Group. Racing series have here. Welcome to Kentucky.
Talk to you a little bit about that participation that you just mentioned.
This is our main focus here. Quality, just like they are. Racing series. Your racing certification has about 7 yards. The drivers in the river valley. Now you're seeing some greener. I appreciate you mentioning that. I know you were a customer of ours down there, and I certainly appreciate that. Oh, maybe you can see that in wood.
Tony Raines at car number 25 back on pit road for a second stop, and this time the crew will again go to the right side, but not for tires now. They're looking underneath the suspension, and away goes Tony Raines, car number 25, once again making a second pit stop.
I got 05 coming down here. Yeah, slow down. That's it, wait a
We already got a commission.
I was going to say, yeah, we get a commission on this.
How many laps of green? One lap of green,
Going green next time around, Carl.
They didn't have one. Saw that. They just didn't have it on the front.
Duvall.
All right.
keep it a little bit long.
But yeah, go ahead. Save a spot for John Pettis in Hartford anytime he wants to drop off.
Rex, I believe you could have took a medium, Sid.
Huh?
I believe you could have took a medium.
Now, this is one size smaller than I normally wear.
Field moves back into turns 1 and 2 as the number 88 of Mike Eddy continues to lead from the start of this event some 77 laps ago. He brings the Pontiac onto the front straightaway and leads the field back into turns 1 and 2. We have a new 5th place running car in the field now. The number 22 of Jay Summers out of Patesville, Ohio. Jay Summers in car number 22 is currently 5th on the field. Then going 6th, car number 1, Jay Sauter. He's pretty much been in the 6th place position since the start of this event. And then on back, we have the number 53 of Scott Hansen of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And car number 53 running in the number 7 position. Then going 8th, it's Butch Miller in the Ford Thunderbird, the Liberty Ford Thunderbird, as they head over to turn number 2. Lap number 81 completed, and Mike Eddy leads the field back into the 1st and 2nd turn. Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 15 right there with him now, and only about 2 car lengths separate 1st and 2nd place as they head for turn number 3. A couple of cars tagging there on the backstretch area right in front of our race leaders. And it was car number 10 getting off onto the infield momentarily. Well, I've seen a lot of cars come through turn number 4, but never that way, up onto the infield part of the grassy area. And it looks like he's back in the event once again, though. 83 laps completed. Mike Eddy continues to dodge bullets pretty much through the first 80-some-lot laps of this event. As the number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. continues to run at 2nd, then Gary St. Amant goes 3rd as they head into turn number 2.
Great championship battle going on involving this man, number 15, Glenn Allen Jr. He's got the top on that same prize. He's 3rd economic.
Yeah, me too.
Trouble on the front straightaway as car number 9 goes on a spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, hope I'm down or not.
Dennis Lampman in car number 9 got together with another car coming out of the 4th turn area, and it brings the field back under caution. With 89 laps completed, Mike Eddy in car number 88 continues to be your race leader.
Push it back, push it back.
Wow.
Let's take another look.
And Allen Jr. is heading down pit road, 15. That's the 2nd place running car, and the number 78 of Steve Holtzhausen. He's currently at 4th place, is also pulling down on the pit road for a pit stop. And Carl gets them both in his viewfinder. How about that?
Yeah, hopefully that's good. But line down there, very good.
Junior heads back out on the track. Joins the fray here at the Louisville Motor Speedway. The
He goes right into high five.
300 continues with 91 laps in the record book. The rest of the
He is on the lead lap to the low.
cars still out on the racetrack trying to sort things out. A lot of cars went into the pits, including the lead car. Mike Eddy. That option shows down there. Commissioner Howard Thomas will always lead on it. Well, he's one of the best.
Six more laps and we'll be a third of the way through the Kroger ASA Bluegrass 300 here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway as the number 88 of Mike Eddy leads the field down onto the backstretch area. Gary St. Amant in car number 7. Ford Thunderbird currently in the number 2 spot, but right now he has a pair of lap cars between himself and the race leader, Mike Eddy, as they work out at turn number 2. The number 22 now showing up inside the top 5, the third place position, Jay Sommers, as the field moves over to turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. Sommers has chased down Harold Fair in car number 81, who is not on the lead lap, but has become an obstacle for Sommers now as they head for the backstretch. Coming up on the 100 lap mark here very shortly, 98 laps completed, and it's Mike Eddy now by over 12 car lengths over Gary St. Amant. Jay Sommers in car number 22. Oh, tags up with Harold Fair coming through turn number 4. He drops back a bit as they move back into turns 1 and 2. Jay Sauter in car number 1 now closing in behind Jay Sommers as they head for turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. And there's Gary St. Amant in car number 7, the second place running car right now, but he's got a lot of ground to make up to catch our race leader, Mike Eddy. And then there is the third and fourth place running automobiles. Jay Sommers in car number 22, and then it's the number 1 of Jay Sauter, and now the number 53 of Scott Hansen. And those 3 cars are grouped right together now as they head for turn number 3. 102 laps completed in the Kroger Bluegrass 300 here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway. Our race leader, Mike Eddy, moves on to the front straightaway. Here's Jay Sauter in car number 1 now, chasing down Jay Sommers in car number 22 onto the front stretch, and they're back into turns 1 and 2. Scott Hansen in car number 53 right there as well. And again, we're watching racing for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place positions now as they head over to turn number 3, into turn number 4, and onto the front straightaway.
Let's be careful though. Mike's about to put him down.
Checking with our race leader, Mike Eddy, in car number 88, as he moves over to turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. And it looks like the interval between himself and Gary St. Amant now appears to be closing down some, but Mike Eddy certainly knows the fast way around this Louisville Motor Speedway. And there is the distance back to car number 7, Gary St. Amant, in his Wins Oil Treatment Special Ford Thunderbird, as he works the outside of Tom Jones in car number 0 back into turns 1 and 2. We drop back to 3rd place. There's Jay Sommers in car number 22, and he has the number 1 of Jay Sauter right there with him as they move over to turn number 3. Scott Hansen in 53 is right there as well, so there's 3rd, 4th, and 5th place as they move back into turns 1 and 2. Car number 33 also approaching the top 5 at 6th place now. Brad Loney out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, car number 33, and he appears to be catching the top 5 now as they head for turn number 1.
Back there too. Freeman thinks this is road course.
100 110 laps completed in the Kroger Bluegrass 300. We'll make that 111. And the interval between first and second place is closing down some now as Mike Eddy has begun moving through the slower lap traffic. Gary St. Amant is beginning to catch up with him now as both cars pull onto the front straightaway.
Oh, you bet.
There's the number 7 of Gary St. Amant moving in, and he's right now about 10 car lengths behind our race leader, Mike Eddy. Let's switch up and take a look at Mike Eddy as he heads for turn number 2. And he's moving in right now on the inside of Butch Miller. Two of the finest short track drivers you'll see. Butch Miller in car number 52, the Quality Care Ford, onto the front straightaway, trying to remain on the lead lap. But there's Mike Eddy in car number 88 closing in now as they head to the backstretch. 115 laps completed in the Kroger Bluegrass 300 here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway. As we watch Mike Eddy and Butch Miller move back onto the front stretch. Eddy shoots to the outside of Miller going into turns 1 and 2. Once again, Butch Miller trying to remain on the lead lap as Mike Eddy works the outside as they move out of turn number 3 into turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. And Butch Miller is now 1 lap down to Mike Eddy as they head into turns 1 and 2. But look who is closing in on Mike Eddy now. Gary St. Amant in car number 7. His Ford Thunderbird running like a Swiss clock out here tonight at Louisville Speedway. Back into turns 1 and 2, and St. Amant is closed in to within about 8 car lengths now. St. Amant working the inside of Mike Miller out of Georgia as they move over to turn number 3. Into turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway, and the interval between first and second place now is only about 3.5 car lengths as they head for the backstretch. Mike Eddy in the number 88, the Goodwrench Performance Parts Pontiac. Back into turns 1 and 2. St. Amant now dropped back a bit, about 10 car lengths now as they head over to turn number 3. Tom Jones at car number 0 going at least another lap down to our race leader as we have 121 laps completed.
They're getting better.
Eddie's showing them the short way around.
1 and 53.
Checking back through the field, we find Scott Hansen in the 53 and the number 1 of Jay Sauter moving side by side down the front straightaway. As Jay Summers, our third place running car, the number 22, is pulled away from this twosome. But we've got a great battle for 4th and 5th place as they move over to turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. Watching the number 1 now of Jay Sauter leads Scott Hansen out of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. And they're back into turns 1 and 2. The number 33 is right there as well, Brad Looney. And so again, we're watching the 4th, 5th, and 6th place running automobiles as they move out of turn number 4 and onto the front stretch. There's Gary St. Amant in car number 7, currently in 2nd place. And once again, St. Amant now has 2 lapped cars between himself and the race leader, Mike Eddy. Just looking around for you.
No, I've got this.
This is video.
Interesting to see Butch Miller going a lap down this early in the event. It's
Trouble in turn number 2 as Butch Miller had handled little problem a little earlier as he was not up to speed, but we got one car spun over in turn number 2. And it was car number 07, Todd Forbes out of Bryan, Ohio. Or excuse me, Larry Zinn out of Fort Wayne. And his machine in trouble over in turn number 2, Barry.
Larry Zinn and the 05 machine out of turn number 1. A little bit of contact with the car that was behind him, and the 05 goes around just at the exit of turn number 1. Interesting that Butch Miller out of Vermilion, Ohio would go a lap down, just 125 or so laps into the running of the Bluegrass 300, quite uncharacteristically. And you know, he put up a good number 7, the 1 machine of Jay Sauter, rounding the turn now and coming to the attention of the crew. St. Amant is the first to reach his stall, and he is now stopped as Sauter stops here on the front straightaway. The right side is in the air on both automobiles. It'll be right side tires and fuel for the Wins Ford as well as the KC Motorsports Pontiac number 1. Let's see who wins this battle off pit road. Tony Raines in car number 25, again back to the tail of the field for his second stop of the day. The 7 machine of St. Amant, and now we see Jay Sauter does win the battle between the two off the pit road.
And I tell you what, it doesn't even look like the Goodwrench crew is very much concerned at all as they sit very calm, very collectively on their stacks and stacks of tires there, as Mike Eddy must be radioing to him that he's just getting beautiful tire wear.
Well, let's talk strategy just for the moment, Frank Scott, as we watch this event. It could be that Mike Eddy's car is just exactly right on handling, and as you know, that would prolong the inevitable tire change. We've seen in some ASA events in 1994 already that the total event can be ran on one set of tires with no tire changes. Could it be that Mike Eddy believes that the drivers who are changing are having to abuse those tires so much to work themselves up through the field that by the time they get to the front, if they in fact can get back to the front, they may not have quite enough tire to do any damage to the 88 machine?
Well, that story still needs to be told, as Mike Eddy has definitely found the handle on the Louisville Motor Speedway and in this Bluegrass 300. We're 131 laps into this event.
Passing cars on the 7/16 of a mile oval can be done, as we've seen tonight. However, it's not as simple as driving by someone, as it took the 88 car of Mike Eddy some 4 laps to get around the 52 car of Butch Miller. And I tell you what, we just could see here that Mike Eddy may think that by going to the tail of the field, he's got to be thinking, if I'm going to pit for right side tires, maybe I should do that soon so that I can work back up through the field.
Well, that's true, and that strategy is about to be played out as we return to green flag racing at lap number 133 of the Kroger Bluegrass 300.
Mike Eddy in the GM Goodwrench Pontiac leads the field out of turn number 4. The lap car of Butch Miller there is in second. Roger Slack puts the green flag in the air. On lap 133, we are back under the green flag. 300 make up the total distance here today.
Jay Sommers in car number 22 up to second on the field. Then Scott Hansen goes third. And fourth now, we bring up the number 33 machine as they head over to turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. Car number 33, Brad Loney.
A good run for Jay Sommers out of Concord, Ohio in the Francis Engineering Racing Pontiac. He's one of our $40,000 Pat Shower Memorial Rookie of the Year candidates, and he is one of the best running cars in the field today. All the drivers that are laps down, that we talked to some of them in the pit area, are concentrating, but the problem is, Frank Scott, with the continuous turning here at Louisville Motor Speedway, the rearview mirror is of little help in that situation. As they look in the mirror, 3/4 of the way around, they can't see the car behind them. Trouble for the 25 car of Tony Raines, as we now see smoke pouring from under the hood of that 25 machine. He is on pit road.
Tony Raines in car number 25 has seen a succession of pit stops during this Kroger Bluegrass 300, and I tell you, it didn't look like it looks like he has a small fire underneath the hood of the number 25 machine, and it could be possibly a brake rotor or a hot hub on that car.
We've seen quite a lot of that lately. At the last event at I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, the race was actually decided, possibly the outcome was decided by 2 of the front-running cars who experienced a similar problem. We'll wait and see what the word is for Tony Raines, but it looked very much like a brake line or a brake rotor that had come apart and caused the problems. He had made about 4 or 5 pit stops, but managed to still be on the lead lap, doing a great job here today. today, but now he is going laps down to the field.
No longer on the lead lap. Tony Raines in car number 25. The hood is up on that machine and quite possibly has a brake problem with that car. The trouble in turn number 1, our second place running car number 22, Jay Summers, spins into the outside retaining wall in turn number 1. Barry?
It looks as if the 93 machine of Alec Pinsino, who is laps down on the field, made contact with the 22 car. We had just talked about it moments ago. Jay Summers, who had such a good and still has a good run going here today, and he made contact with the 93, and we understand now the 93 machine may possibly be in for a black flag here. The 93 car of Alec Pinsino contacting the 22 of Jay Summers, and Summers had a great run. Jay Summers doing a great job here today and involved with an incident with a lapped car. We understand the 93 car of Alec Pinsino will not be back to join the field, Frank.
Well, that's quite a few minutes in the penalty box for that one, right?
It's quite a few minutes and quite a few laps. 144 laps this time by, and we look to be clear over in turn 1 and turn 2, and we should look for the field to go back under the green here in the next couple of laps.
Okay, Jay Summers in car number 22 receives some assistance and pulls back onto the track now with the rear panel removed from that race car. And once again, he's several laps down to the race leaders, and right now out of contention for the lead for the moment. Mike Eddy continues in the number 1 position. Car number 53, Scott Hansen, continues to run at second, and then going third, it's car number 33, Brad Loney, as they move on to the backstretch area. And they understand now that they will give the signal 1 lap to go before they put them back under green in this Kroger Bluegrass 300.
To solve the question of one of our young racers.
Well, Mike Eddy, who has been successful so far in the Kroger Bluegrass 300, if he can lead the event through lap 150, will be the Wins Halfway Challenge winner here today in Louisville, Kentucky. We'll see if that plays out. You can watch the starter stand. Roger Slack will have the Wins flag in his hand. Out of turn number 4, Roger Slack does put the green flag in the air. Maybe this will give Butch Miller an opportunity to work his way around our race leader. Mike Eddy has the 7/16 of a mile Speedway figured out, but I got a feeling Butch Miller has more car than his team has been able to show him here today.
Oh, I agree with you there. And as the Liberty Ford Thunderbird heads off into turns 1 and 2 in pursuit of Mike Eddy's number 88 Goodrich Performance Parts Pontiac, the battle between the car mates is certainly not over by any means. As you know, Gary St. Amant still back in the field some after making an unscheduled pit stop. And again, he remains on the lead lap, and I believe he can really get up there and give Mike Eddy a run for his money, but he's going to have to come up through some heavy traffic to do so. The big question is, as we approach the halfway mark now with in about 1 more lap or so, when will Mike Eddy make his stop, and how far will he go on the fuel?
Now Roger Slack does reach for the Wins flag, and it's high in the air, so Mike Eddy, the GM Goodrich Pontiac crew, win the Wins Halfway Challenge Award. And kind of neat, that signals to the rest of the field, Frank Scott, as well, that we are halfway through the running of the Kroger Bluegrass 300. What an event that you guys are hosting here. I tell you what, the Louisville Motor Speedway has never looked better in its history. As we look now at the back straightaway and all the brightly colored billboards, you guys have done a great job here, Frank, in putting together a premier racing facility.
Well, I think when Andy Vertrees gets a staff of so many people working together. Trouble in turn number 1 is it looks like 7 cars involved, and it was Jay Summers in car number 22, a one-time top 5 running automobile. Bill Baird, car number 26. The number 9 machine also involved. The front end pushed back on that machine as we've had a multi-car accident down at turn number 1 at 152 laps into this event.
You have to wonder what happened inside of the 9 car of Dennis Lampman, as he's having all kinds of problems getting that machine righted. First running into the 26 of Bill Baird, then backing in to the 75 car of Roger Avance. We have to wonder if there was any contact between any of those automobiles involved in that and the 7 of Gary St. Amant, because St. Amant looked to be right in the middle of what was going on there with Lampman's back and forth action. Dr. Yale Conley in car number 3 stops right on the front straightaway. Oh, Tracy Schuler in car number 61 with a lot of damage to the front corner of that machine. The right front tire wheel not even rolling. Sure, he will try to get on pit road here in just another lap or so because that car has received some heavy damage as a result of that incident.
The AC Delco pace car picks up the field now on the backstretch area, and the number 88 of Mike Eddy is currently the race leader, has been through the first half of the event, but it looks right now, Barry, that he's headed for pit road. Mike Eddy, the race leader, expecting to make a pit stop as we see that Good Wrench team ready to service Mike Eddy.
Mike Eddy on the low side of the AC Delco pace car. Out of turn number 1 will make that hard left-hand turn. And finally on lap 154, our race leader decides to pit the machine. And I feel certain that he will go to right side tires and a full load of fuel right in the center of the event. So he will have as much time and distance remaining as he has already been spent to work his way all the way back up through the field to possibly contest for the win here later on today.
Top 3 cars are on pit road as Mike Eddy leads Scott Hansen, and then the number 07 posted on our leaderboard in the 3rd place spot. All 3 of those cars are on pit road receiving service. The Good Wrench Performance Parts crew puts Eddy's car back down. Scott Hansen rolls around in the number 2 spot. Gary St. Amant in the number 7, and the number 07 pulling onto the track, Todd Forbes.
Todd Forbes, a winner in 1994 at I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, and he rejoins the field as well. Well, it's excitement all around. You know, Frank Scott, as we look out at the racing surface back to when we were under green, it's hard to know where, as a race fan, you want to focus your attention. There's so much going on, what with the leader lapping through the back of the field and a lot of drivers looking to make passes for positions. We had races all over the racetrack here.
It's a race within a race, and right now the scoring posting car number 15, Glenn Allen Jr. is the race leader. And the number 48 currently in 2nd. That's Joe Knott in the number 48 machine at 2nd place. Then it's the number 78 machine posted in the number 3 position, Steve Holtzhausen, now with 155 laps completed.
And Bob Seneker out of Dorr, Michigan in the Johnsonville Sausage Lane Automotive Ford is being shown in the 4th position. Seneker, who you recall started way back in this field and has really threaded the needle. He probably has not pitted as of yet, so Seneker, by virtue of not pitting and running good and clean, sees himself now on the scoreboard in the 4th position. And car number 4 being shown on the Winston Racing Series scoreboard, that's rookie Dave Sensiba, and he is doing a great job here today in some extremely tough racing conditions.
Well, I tell you, as the cars come to Louisville Speedway, these racing teams have been a real challenge all season long, but now not only the other race teams, but the track becomes a challenge as the cars are pretty much in a turn for most of the lap around the track. About the only relief they get is when they hit this short straightaway here on the front stretch. 156 laps completed. The race leader, new race leader for the first time in this event, the number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr.
And that is one extremely tough team. In 1993, the crew chief on the Glenn Allen Jr. machine was Chris Bradley, was the crew chief for Johnny Benson Jr. in car number 21, and he managed to win not only the Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely, Barry. Mike Eddy in car number 88, once again getting excellent tire wear. And again, they checked the tires after the pit stop, and they determined they could probably have gone the whole distance on that set of tires. Getting excellent tire wear, but he did have to stop for fuel, and that's what's put him back some in the field, car number 88.
Once again, it's all the way back to the green and blue number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. That's your race leader out of turn number 4.
And they're back under green. Into turns 1 and 2, Glenn Allen Jr., the race leader, and the cars there in front of him, about 6 of them or so, are all set to go at least another lap down. Some remain on the lead lap, like the car out of turn number 4, the number 52 of Butch Miller. They're back into turns 1 and 2, 162 laps completed. Car number 15 out front, Glenn Allen Jr., followed by the number 48 as they head onto the backstretch area, Joe Knott.
Once again, the Bluebird is set to go here today. Bob Seneker doing a great job. We've got trouble. The 15 and the 48 got slightly together out of turn number 1. They went 3 wide there for a moment. Now Bob Seneker moves to the inside of Steve Holzhausen in car number 78, and they touch, and Holzhausen goes around.
Holzhausen is off the race course in the dirt on the infield. He is, however, still on the lead lap, but he certainly lost in that incident down the back straightaway as he and the
84 of Bob
84 car,
Seneker
Bob-
tangled. They were battling for 3rd and 4th place there. So I tell you what, it's kind of a dust bowl in the 3rd turn area at this time, but as the driver's visions are not obstructed as that has cleared away. But I tell you what, that was kind of a Saturday night shootout there between Seneker and the car of Holzhausen, car number 78.
Yeah, the two were running door to door through the dog leg on the back straightaway, and as they approached turn 3, they just barely touched. And unfortunately, Holzhausen in the 78 was in the high groove and just barely started to slide. Then the two got back together again. Seneker was able to continue on. Holzhausen as well. Nonetheless, Holzhausen lost a lot of positions in that particular event in turn number 3.
Out of turn number 2 and onto the backstretch area, Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 15 continues to lead as Joe Knott in car number 48 runs at second, about 3.5 car lengths back now as they pull onto the front straightaway. Then it's car number 1, Jay Sauter, currently in 3rd. And then going 4th, we have a new top 5 running car, David Sensiba, who is running for the Rookie of the Year award.
And look who is in that 5th spot according to timing and scoring. Mike Eddy in the GM Goodwrench Pontiac is already back up into the foray here as Mike Eddy in the 88 car is being shown in the 5th position. He has already worked himself back up into contention for a win here today.
He's making up ground in that number 88 Pontiac now as they head through turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. And actually he is engaged in a battle right now for 4th place with the number 4 machine of David Sensiba as they head for the backstretch area. They're hooked up in a tight little 2-car draft and they pull in behind the number 98 machine as they head for turn number 4.
As a good friend of mine and one excellent announcer, Frank Scott, would say, Mike Eddy is playing his cards and he's playing them right here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway.
Yes, he's kept an ace up his sleeve, so to speak, and he's getting ready to play it here as he chases down our race leaders here tonight after 172 laps in tonight's Kroger Bluegrass 300 for the superstars and cars of the American Speed Association.
Here we are back in the same position we were in with Bob Seneker in car number 84 and 78 Steve Holzhausen, only this time it's Mike Eddy to the inside of David Sensiba, and he pulls the pass off. That will move Mike Eddy into the 4th position in the running order. Now he'll work around the 98 machine of rookie Gordy Brunette out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Gordy Brunette going into this event was 2nd in the $40,000 Pat Schauer Memorial Rookie of the Year chase and doing a good job here today of at least staying in the action. Once again, Mike Eddy is working around that car. Now the 84 machine of Bob Seneker is right there as well, just outside of the top 5 in the 6th position. Here comes Tony Raines back one more time, the invincible Tony Raines. However, we know he is enough laps down not to be a factor, but still has a very, very fast race car here today.
Talk about fast. Mike Eddy now is caught up with Jay Sauter as they move side by side through turn number 4. This is the battle for 3rd place. They're into turn number 1, and Eddy takes the position away.
And Sauter slows out of turn number 4 and makes the hard left turn down on pit road. It's a green flag stop. That is not good news for Jay Sauter. You have to believe it is something that would prevent the machine from continuing to circle the 7/16 of a mile oval. He would never stop under green without it being required. Now the crew goes under the hood of the KC Motorsports Pontiac, and that looks like trouble as he now goes a lap down to the field.
Yeah, they're pouring water on the heat exchanger there on the front of the machine, and the KC Pontiac is definitely experiencing some of this Fall City hot, muggy weather here. Trouble at turn number 2. It looks like it's the number 07 Saint Amant also involved, and the number 5 machine of Brian Refner.
A scary moment over on the back pits as Gary Saint Amant was spinning backwards towards some of the crew members over there. I tell you what, Frank Scott, that was one of the scariest things we've seen in a long time. Saint Amant sliding through the grass backwards, headed right for the fire and safety officials as well as the crew. We do believe everyone is up and moving over there in the pit area, so hopefully all are okay. Yes, everyone is up and moving, so fortunately it wasn't as a catastrophe as it maybe could have been. It was quite an incident over in turn number 2.
That's right, Barry. It's kind of a heads-up area on that part of the racetrack over in turn number 2, as Gary Saint Amant and the number 7 machine went backwards through that infield portion over there and got very, very close to some of those pit crews over there. We still have one car up against the outside retaining wall. Todd Forbes of Bryan, Ohio, is up against the outside retaining wall over in turn number 2, and that's the reason for the caution at 180 laps.
And it looked as if, we have benefit here of television replay, it looked as if the 7 machine of Gary Santamont and the 07 machine of Todd Forbes got together off into turn number 2, and both went spinning. Santamont 15 machine of Glenn Allen Jr. leads the field. We are back under the green flag here at the Kroger Bluegrass 300 on lap 184.
It would be safe to assume 184 laps into this race that the rotation of pit stops is now completed, and I would say at this point in the race the cars are not expected to stop again, as they have received their servicing, their fuel, and the tires needed to go the rest of the way now. 115 laps left to go in the Kroger Bluegrass 300. Top 3 cars break away from the rest of the field and head for turn number 4.
Not only are they breaking away, but they are racing nose to tail at turn number 1. The leader is the 15 car of Glenn Allen Jr. And now Mike Eddy to the inside of Joe Knott in the 48 car. It is a drag race down the back straightaway. Eddy with a half car length advantage. This time across the stripe, give the second spot to Eddy. In third is the 48 of Joe Knott. In fourth is car number 4 of Dave Sensiva, another rookie. In fifth is the 84 car of Bob Seneker. In sixth is the 78 of Holzhausen. In seventh would be the 33 car of Brad Loney. In eighth is the 53 car of Scott Hansen, and that's the way they are running on lap 188.
Mike Eddy takes a look to the outside of Glenn Allen Jr. and pulls up nearly side by side over at turn number 3. As they head down to turn number 4 at the bottom of the hill and onto the front straightaway, we've got a 2-car shootout for the lead with Mike Eddy on the outside of Glenn Allen Jr.
The outside has not been the place to get the job done so far. Nearly everyone has lost the battle from that spot. Mike number 2, Glenn Allen Jr. will lead the field back across the stripe. So at the moment, Glenn Allen Jr., your race leader, followed by the 88 of Mike Eddy in second. Car number 48, Joe Knott, doing a great job in third position. Car number 4, Dave Sensiva, is in fourth. The 84 of Bob Seneker is in fifth. Car number 78, Steve Holzhausen, is in sixth. Then comes the 33 of Brad Loney, the 53 machine of Scott Hansen. On Mike Eddy, Joe Knott, Dave Sensiva, Bob Seneker, Brad Loney, Scott Hansen, and on back, I believe, then to car number 54 of Steve Shives and the 52 of Butch Miller. Out of turn number 4, Roger Slack puts the green flag high in the air once again, and on lap 198, the Kroger Bluegrass 300 is under the green flag once again.
Top 4 or 5 cars now pull over to turn number 3, and they move down the hill into turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. And now Mike Eddy takes a look to the outside of Glenn Allen Jr., but instead of challenging to make a pass, he dropped back a car length or so.
Of course, when he looked in his rearview mirror, it was full of the 48 car of Joe Knott on the inside, so Eddy needed to fall back and protect his position. That's about 4 times the driver of the Goodwrench Pontiac has looked to the high side. I really believe that he is really determined to make that high groove work here at Louisville Motor Speedway, or he would have given up on it a long time ago.
Busting through the field, Butch Miller in 52 and Gary Santamont in car number 7. Pull onto the front straightaway, and now they appear to be moving in on the race leaders as they are getting around the slower traffic. Miller for the moment shut down. He'll drop back a bit, but I tell you what, Barry, he is definitely moving in on the race leaders here, and I expect in about 10 laps or so could have an opportunity to get up there and challenge the top 5.
He is following a very top-notch car. That's rookie Steve Shive in car number 54, and if he makes the pass, it will be for position, and it's not going to be a matter of just pulling up alongside and driving by the 54 car.
Again.
We have car number 3, Dr. Yale Conley, apparently in the wall over in turn number 1 and 2, as he does continue on around the 7/16 of a mile Louisville Motor Speedway.
Didn't see what happened there. Not a lot of smoke out of the right front of the car, but he definitely has the famous Louisville Speedway white wall on the side wall of that Goodyear Eagle.
As a matter of fact, the Louisville Speedway maintenance crews were repainting the Louisville, Kentucky signboard earlier, and right now the Kentucky has taken a pretty hard lick from Dr. Yale Conley. And from a human interest story, last weekend at I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, everyone believed that Dr. Yale Conley would be a new father when he got home, it didn't happen. They still await the arrival of their son or daughter. So Dr. Yale Conley in car number 3 making contact, light contact it looks, Frank Scott, with the retaining wall, and now is taking his place once again at the head of the field.
It looks like Dr. Conley may be getting himself lined up to come in for an unscheduled pit stop. As again, he made contact with the right side of his car to the outside retaining wall over in turn number 2, and he may be coming in for service that next time around.
You're exactly right. He's pulled to the low side. Directly in front of him is Tony Roper in car number 10, and behind him is the 22 car. And at the moment, car number 22 has been doing a great job early. We saw him get in some trouble. That's Jay Summers. He is slowing. I don't know if he's trying to find his proper place in line or exactly what happens here. Once again, your race leader now with about a half a lap to go to the green flag is the 15 of Glenn Allen Jr., followed by the 88 of Mike Eddy, car number 48 Joe Knott, car number 4 Jay Sensiba, the 84 of Bob Seneker, car number 33 Brad Loney, the 53 of Scott Hansen, and then the 54 of Shive, the 52 of Butch Miller, car number 7 Gary Santamont. That's how they're running as we go back under green at lap 206. 94 laps now remain in the running of the Kroger Bluegrass 300.
Top 5 cars move bumper to bumper out of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway as Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 15 leads the field back into turns 1 and 2. Mike Eddy hops to the outside of Allen looking for the battle for the lead, but he'll jump back in line again. They're back in single file as they move out of turn number 3.
And they're not single file, on back in another battle for position. Gary Santamont went to the high side and drew up the side of the 52 of Butch Miller as Miller was trying to go to the inside of Steve Shive in car number 54. Then it's a couple of lap cars in front. Those cars had kind of got together, played a little bumper tag, slowed up the Shive machine, slowed up the Miller machine, allowing Santamont to go to the high groove, but then Santamont lost the handle on the car. Now Santamont goes to the high side of the 52 and he makes the pass for position. Gary Santamont now pulls in front of the 52 car of Butch Miller.
One of the faster cars at the start of this event was Gary Santamont, the number 7 machine. He got into the pit area, made a pit stop, then was involved in an altercation. Somehow he remained on the lead lap. It could be one of the faster cars out there tonight. He'll hop to the outside of car number 54 here on the front straightaway as they move back into turns 1 and 2. But Gary Santamont in car number 7 is definitely one of the top contenders here tonight, although not up with the race leaders yet.
Well, let's update the race fans as best we can as to the running order and who's on the lead lap and who's not on the lead lap. Your race leader is the 15 of Glenn Allen Jr., followed by the 88 car of Mike Eddy, the 48 of Joe Knott, car number 4 Dave Sensiba, the 84 in 5th position is Bob Seneker, then comes the 33 of Brad Loney in 6th, the 53 of Scott Hansen in 7th, then the 10 car of Tony Roper, the 25 of Rains, and the 90 of Stauffer. Those three are all a lap down. The race then is for position. Santamont to the inside of the 54 of Shive. Steve Shive is not to be denied here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway. He has earned the position and he intends to keep it, but Santamont appears to be possessed to take the spot away. He is driving the wheels off of that Ford.
Again, watching this battle with car number 54, Larry Shive, and the number 7 of Gary Santamont now as they pull onto the front straightaway. Butch Miller right there. All three of those cars are on the lead lap and will be challenging the top 5 here very shortly. They've got 3 lap cars ahead of them here. They're really battling for position just outside the top 5 as they move into turn number 4.
Then coming back on through the field, the 18 of Mike Miller on the lead lap. Car number 81, Harold Fair, is laps down. Then you get to the 78 of Holshausen. He is on the lead lap. And from there on back, most of those machines are a lap or more down to the field. Once again, a good race going here. Plenty of cars left on the lead lap to make a show out of it. 217 laps are in the book. What's going to happen here, Frank Scott? Is Mike Eddy biding his time and waiting for the opening? Or is he doing all that he could do in that GM Goodrich Pontiac? That's a question yet to be answered.
Well, each and every time they come down the front straightaway, Eddy can glance up and look at the scoreboard and tells about how much time he's got left to make his move. And I believe Eddie is one of those strategically planned drivers where he might just wear his opposition out rather than just outright pass them.
I think that's an excellent call. You got to believe that a little bit of a mind game is going on now with Mike Eddy, where the race leader Glenn Allen Jr. is concerned. If you'll notice, he works him low one lap in turn number 3. He'll work him high the next lap. And I'll tell you what, all Glenn Allen Jr. needs to do is to remember that he owns all the real estate. He is the race leader. He can run anywhere he chooses to run. And I think as long as he looks ahead and doesn't look back, he may possibly win the event. But you have to have a feeling that he is a little bit slower than Mike Eddy. I believe Mike Eddy has a little bit quicker race car.
Yep, that's definitely so, as the top 2 cars have once again begun to pull away from the rest of the field. Bob Seneker will be engaged in a battle for 5th place here very shortly as the number 33 machine pulls in behind him, Brad Loney, as they move into turns 1 and 2.
You have to give a call to Glenn Allen Jr. working through all of the lap traffic that he has worked through tonight and holding off the KG veteran Mike Eddy in car number 88. I tell you what, he's a man of few words, but when he gets behind the wheel of a race car, he expresses himself. And at the moment, he is expressing himself to Glenn Allen Jr., looking to take that number 1 spot away once again to the high side out of turn number 4. And he keeps looking at doing that right there in 4 as well as to the entrance of turn number 3. Now to
Mike
the
Eddy
inside
now
of
to
turn
the
number
inside.
2.
He looks to the inside there momentarily, but then drops back in line again as they head over to turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. Glenn Allen Jr. continuing to be pressured by Mike Eddy as they head to turn number 1. 225 laps completed of this Kroger ASA Bluegrass 300 here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway.
And now our leaders begin to approach lap traffic once again. The 26 car of Bill Baird as well as the 71 of A.J. Cooper. We'll see if they play a factor in the outcome of the event. Roger Slack continues to apply the layover flag or the move over flag to the lap cars. Out of turn number 4, Glenn Allen looking to the high side of Bill Baird. Bill Baird is a driver that ran over 100 races last year on dirt. This is his first season to run asphalt in car number 26. He is doing an excellent job. He's finished every event that he started. Glenn Allen Jr. now seems to be making a safe pass. However, the caution is out here at Louisville Motor Speedway.
Jay Summers, car number 22, spun over in turn number 2. No other cars were involved, but his car stalled down in the infield portion of the second turn area. And it'll bring this field back under caution as the AC Delco Challenge Series pace car picks up a race leader, Glenn Allen Jr.
You know, Frank Scott, if we gave caution flags names, this caution flag would be named Glenn Allen Gets a Break, because as my team, Glenn Allen Jr. leads the field back to the stripe. We are green and racing on lap 235. 65 laps remain to decide it all here today.
Glenn Allen Jr., your race leader in a Pontiac Grand Prix. As a matter of fact, the pair of Pontiacs lead this field over to turn number 3 and over to turn number 4 now. Glenn Allen Jr. with the lead as they move on to the front straightaway. Running at 3rd place now, the Ford Thunderbird, car number 48, Joe Knott. And then it's the number 4 machine up there as well as the field heads for turn number 3.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. First 10 cars are all on the lead lap.
Top 10 cars on the lead lap now as they head for turn number 2 and onto the backstretch. Mike Eddy takes a look to the outside of Glenn Allen Jr. Tucks back in line again as they move bumper to bumper over to turn number 4. Gary St. Amant getting a little bit loose up in turn number 4. You drop back just a little bit in behind the number 18 of Mike Miller, and they're back into turns 1 and 2.
There he goes on the top.
Here goes Mike Eddy in car number 88 to the outside of Glenn Allen Jr. They're going to come through turn number 4 side by side. They touch a bit. They're side by side. It's Mike Eddy, the race leader, into turns 1 and 2 with Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 15 dropping back to second.
That's real tight. That's the last place he's picked up this.
At lap number 240, we still have 60 more to go. And Butch Miller in car number 52 is still back in the pack some, but again, it appears he's chasing down the race leaders. Scott Hansen in car number 53 still sits outside the top 5, but they may be marching their way towards the front here very shortly. It's Mike Eddy out front, the Goodwrench Performance Parts Pontiac, but can he stay there? It's the 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. at second place, and can he stay there? We'll find out as the field moves over to turn number 3.
He'll celebrate because he gets paid $1,000 more in front of tips.
243 laps completed. The race leaders move over to turn number 3.
I don't think he's front. It was Matty Moe.
Does that 20 grand go to him if he's got a GM motor?
No, Chevrolet
car.
Chevrolet
Eddie
car.
gets 8,000 bonus. 4 for winning from the pole from Pontiac and 4,000 from Pontiac for winning.
All righty. Race leaders move on to the front straightaway with 245 laps completed, and it's Mike Eddy, pole position setter, new track record holder here at Louisville Speedway's long track, and now the race leader. As we have 55 laps remaining, now 54 laps remaining in this Kroger Bluegrass 300. It's a two-car shootout for the lead as our leaders break away from the field, and they move over to turn number 3. Bob Seneker in car number 84 in 5th place now. Moving into turns 1 and 2. Sizing up the number 4 machine now. Looked like he was going to try to make a pass on the outside, but he drops back in line again. Joe Knott's car number 48 continues to run at 3rd, and actually he heads up that second pack of cars from the 3rd place position back through the top 10 as they all run nose to tail into turn number 4 and onto the front stretch. Car number 61 back in competition, but rolling along very slowly there.
Ready, we win.
Okay.
I'm right Glen Allen right here.
As the race leaders move back into turns 1 and 2. Mike Eddy in car number 88 continues the lead with the number 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. in 2nd. And now the interval between 2nd and 3rd place now is opened up to about a dozen car lengths as the race leaders move out of turn number 2 and onto the backstretch.
All right. That's Glen Allen. Thank you.
Very good. Well, I'll tell you what, Barry Boone, it looks like
That's the bonus. He gets 4,000 bonus.
Mike Eddy has about a $17,850 payday headed his way here tonight if he can keep his number 88 machine in the number 1 position.
I don't think you can count out the True Motorsports Pontiac team. I believe before this event is over, we may still see a challenge for the lead, even though right now Eddy has pulled out to an advantage. It has been a caution-filled event that will give Glenn Allen another opportunity. As well, we are moving into lap traffic, and it could be that Glenn Allen Jr. could take advantage of some of that traffic and block the 88 behind one of the slower machines. At the moment, Dr. Yale Conley in car number 3 and the 71 of A.J. Cooper are side by side. They seem to be getting that sorted out thanks to the 61 of Tracy Schuler. That allows all those cars on the lead lap to blow right by on the outside. Once again, with 255 laps in the books, here's the running order. Mike Eddy in car number 88 is the leader. In 2nd is the 15 of Glenn Allen Jr. In 3rd, back about 10 or 12 car lengths, is the 48 of Joe Knott, followed by the car number 4 and 4th of Dave Sensiba. In 5th right now looks to be the 84 car of Bob Seneker. In 6th is the 33 car of Brad Loney, followed by the 53 of Scott Hansen, the 52 of Butch Miller, car number 7 of Gary St. Amant, and the 18 machine of Mike Miller. Car number 78, Steve Holzhausen, involved in a terrific battle back there trying to get through the lap traffic, believing him to be the last car on the lead lap.
Okay, so there you have it. There's our first 10 positions of the drivers on the lead lap, as we have the number 88 of Mike Eddy continuing to lead. Now, Barry, he's opened up about a car length and a half lead over Glenn Allen Jr. It's going to be a 2-car race, definitely, for the number 1 position as they head back into turns 1 and 2.
Steve Holzhausen in trouble in turn number 3, nearly turning the car around as he had it crossed up every which way but loose, but managed to hold on to the car, trying to work himself around Bill Barrett, and got in the high groove and got in the marbles, really. He was 2.5, 3 lanes up, and it was trouble for the 78 of Holzhausen, who did a great job holding on to that machine. 15, Glenn Allen Jr., Frank Scott, is pulling right up on the back bumper of our race leader.
And they cross the start-finish line with 261 laps completed. And the big question right now is Mike Eddy slowing down? As Glenn Allen has clearly been able to stay with Eddy as they have come through the slower lap traffic on several occasions. but it's been a 2-car breakaway for the lead. It doesn't look like we have any other players in contention for the lead at this point. It's a 2-car race.
I really do believe, again, you can't count out that Troop Motorsports team. Chris Bradley, one of the top crew chiefs in the business, has been coaching Glenn Allen Jr. throughout the event. Right now, they are tied bumper to bumper, and it is going to be a race right to the finish. And speaking of the finish, Frank Scott, this time by 264 laps will be in the record books. 36 laps remain in the running of the Kroger Bluegrass 300.
It's come down to a regular Saturday night shootout here in Louisville, Kentucky, as the superstars and cars of the American Speed Association are just about ready to put the cap on the Bluegrass 300, a race that they used to run back at the old Fairgrounds Motor Speedway until it closed in 1980 with John Anderson, the late great John Anderson, coming away with the victory in the Bluegrass 300 in 1979, winning all 3 legs of that Monza-style event. But since then, the circuit has gone on the road, so to speak. But with the opening of the Louisville Motor Speedway in 1988, the Bluegrass name returned. For 1994, it has returned to the American Speed Association, and what a show we've seen here tonight.
So it is, and so wonderful it is to be joining you here in the booth, Frank Scott, as we recount the events that are going on here to the race fans. But one thing that's really exciting for me personally is to see Louisville Motor Speedway doing so well. At the same time, the American Speed Association certainly in a tremendous growing curve, and the two combined here tonight to put on one heck of a show in the Kroger Bluegrass 300. Once again, we have got a little bit of distance between our race leader, Mike Eddy, some 4, maybe 5 car lengths back to the 15 car of Glenn Allen Jr. Do you get the feeling Glenn Allen may be saving his tires for a run to the finish later on in the event?
Well, a lot of times you talk to these top drivers, and they'll tell you that they will back off a little bit and let the tires cool in order to make a last part of the race run at the race leader. Feel like that's what Glenn Allen Jr. is doing as they continue to overlap traffic now as they pull onto the front straightaway and they move back into turns 1 and 2. 30 laps to go here tonight in Louisville, Kentucky in the Kroger Bluegrass 300.
And it may be good to point out to the fans, Frank, that if we get down to the last few laps of this event and we were to go caution under American Speed Association rules, the last 5 laps of every event will run under the green flag. Unlike Indianapolis, as we saw this year at the Brickyard when the Indianapolis 500 ended under caution, you'll never see that happen in American Speed Association racing. They always go green right to the finish. Brad Loney makes a pass for position on Bob Seneker, and Hansen gets into the back end of Bob Seneker, and Seneker gets the car squared away, barely saving the 84 car. The Bluebird may survive to race again here. Hansen and Seneker getting together, but Brad Loney appears to have found a newfound secret of speed here at Louisville Motor Speedway.
Whoa, trouble in turn number 2 involves our 3rd place running car of Joe Knott, car number 48, tagged up with the number 25 machine of Tony Raines there in the 2nd turn area, but that was our 3rd place running car number 48, and I don't know what type of damage may have been done to that car. Hopefully it was very minimal because he was headed for a high finish here tonight.
And Tony Raines is not headed for a high finish as Raines makes his way down pit road with a flat right front tire. Well, we will await the arrival of Joe Knott out of turn number 4, get a good look at the damage. It looks like the Kevlar and fiberglass bodied American Speed Association race car has got a missing left front fender and some damage to the nose piece on the car, the front air dram, and it certainly has a little more aerodynamic styling. However, both the front fenders and the entire doghouse of the car are loose. Hopefully no suspension damage. Frankie may be able to continue on and contest here for the 2nd or 1st position.
Well, I tell you, Barry, it looks like the right front fender's only held on by about 3 or 4 pop rivets, and again, he may get the black flag perhaps if he begins dragging part of his the outer body of that car, but that remains to be seen. Perhaps he can go the remaining 25 laps with the fender intact.
I have to believe that the American Speed Association officials will give Joe Knott every benefit of the doubt and try to keep the car in the field. I'm sure that the last thing they're going to want to do is to block strong here late in the going. And then in 6th position is the 84 car of Bob Seneker, the 53 of Hansen, the 52 of Butch Miller, car number 7, Gary Santamont, and Mike Miller in car number 18. Holzhausen is the last car on the lead lap. 277 laps are complete. We're looking to 300 to make up the total distance.
33.
It's Mike Eddy in car number 88 out front. Some good battle back around 5th and sixth as we have Bob Seneker running side by side with the number 33 machine on the front straightaway.
Seneker trying to get the position back away from Brad Loney. Brad Loney using the 71 of A.J. Cooper for a pick and kept Seneker at bay. So at the moment, once again, our race leader continues to be the GM Goodrich Pontiac, but the race is back for the 4th and 5th position.
Race leaders move into turn number 3 now as Mike Eddy continues to lead. We're watching the number 52 of Butch Miller now making up some ground as he attempts to reel in Scott Hansen for about the number 7 position now as they move on to the front straightaway. Again, Barry, we're seeing that 2-car breakaway, 1st and 2nd place, and then you have the rest of the field. So again, it's a 2-car battle for the lead as they head out of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway. 19 here to go tonight at Louisville Speedway.
And you have to wonder if Joe Knott is able to keep the shooting and the fiberglass and Kevlar body panels on the 48 car. It appears to be worsening. If the left front air dam gets under the left front wheel of that car, it could rip every bit of that off of there. It might actually solve the problem for him, but at the moment his car continues to look worse lap by lap.
Well, you got to wonder if the front end alignment's still correct too, with any amount of contact to the front end of the car, and you know how temperamental the front suspensions are on these machines. He may have had the front end knocked out of line some as well. The race leaders are out of turn number 2, Barry.
Just getting ready to call your attention, Frank, to turn number 2, where our race leaders currently are located. And right now, Mike Eddy is feeling quite a lot of heat from Glenn Allen Jr. Glenn Allen is kind of pulling some of Mike Eddy's moves here. And now another pass. Brad Loney makes the move for the 4th position here as he has passed 2 cars in the last 5 laps. He's up to 4th in the 33 car.
Brad Loney in car number 33 now, moving into the number 4 position after getting around the number 4 machine that last time here on the front straightaway. 15 here to go tonight at Louisville Speedway. And Mike Eddy once again opens up about a car length, a 2-car length advantage over the number 15 of Glenn Allen. They move out of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway.
If Mike Eddy can hold on for the win, Frank Scott, he will be in line for a $4,000 bonus for the Pontiac sheet metal on the car and a $4,000 bonus because he won the event from the pole for a total of $8,000 from Pontiac Motor Division. So Mike Eddy with a lot of heat from Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 15 now. Brad Loney moves around Joe Knott in the 48 car to take over the 3rd spot. Dave Sensiba may go by him as well, so we may have an overheating or some type of condition. The brake coolers certainly are not doing their job, and you have to believe that that may be a problem for Joe Knott in the 48 car.
Brad Loney in car number 33, that last time through turn number 4, a shower of sparks from underneath that car as it could be his chassis is bottoming out coming through the 4th turn area as we watch the number 33 machine out of turn number 4, and again that shower of sparks from underneath that car.
And this time by the start-finish line, Mike Eddy and Glenn Allen Jr. will see the 10 laps to go sign from Roger Slack. He's showing the 10 laps to go. As off into turn 1 they go. Glenn Allen looks to the inside, can't make it work, falls back in line once again. I still say we can't count out the Troop Motorsports Pontiac.
Nope, I believe you're right there. You just definitely can't count him out as both cars look like they are equally superior to the rest of this field here. And again, it's a 2-car race for the lead, but it's Eddy lap after lap continuing the lead.
I believe Mike Eddy is backing up. Possibly it's a tire condition or whatever, but Mike is either slowing down or Glenn Allen is speeding up, and the end result is he's got a lot of heat from Glenn Allen Jr. for that number 1 spot. It's a long way from over. Even though lap 292 is in the books, it's going to be a very long 7 or 8 laps for Mike Eddy.
Race leaders.
Quite a distance back to the 3rd place car, about a quarter of a lap back to Brad Loney. Then the 48 car of Joe Knott is in danger of losing that position to car number 4, David Sensiba.
Sensiba leads the number 84 of Bob Seneker, and then it's the number 53 of Scott Hansen. Butch Miller in the number 52. Trouble in turn number 1. And it was directly ahead of our race leaders, and I believe it was car number 25, Tony Raines, spinning over in the 2nd turn area. But it'll bring this field under caution, and we'll get right back to that 5-lap green lap racing here at the end.
And we do not race back to the caution flag in American Speed Association racing, so no changes for a position can occur once the caution flag is issued from the starter stand. So now, once again, let's remind the race fans, Frank Scott, no events in American Speed Association end under caution. Unlike NASCAR, unlike Indianapolis, unlike CART, PPG, none of the events end under caution. We will have 5 laps to the finish of good, hard Saturday night style racing. Your race leader continues to be Mike Eddy in the GM Goodwrench Pontiac, number 88. Followed by the 15 car, the Truth Motorsports Pontiac of Glenn Allen Jr. And then in the 3rd position is Brad Loney in car number 33. Joe Knott continues to hold on to 4th in car number 48. David Sensiba doing a great job once again, has car number 4 in spot number 5. In the 6th position is the old Bluebird with Bob Seneker behind the wheel in car number 84. Right along behind Seneker then is the 53 car of Scott Hansen. He too's on the lead lap. Then the 52 car of Butch Miller. The 18 of Mike Miller, again no relation. Car number 7, Gary St. Amant, again on the lead lap. The 10 and the 90 who have been running together laps down for what must be 100 laps. Both of those cars not a factor in the final event here. Car number 78, Holzhausen, is on the lead lap, as well as 54, Steve Shive. I would say that the 54 car is the last car on the lead lap. Frank Scott, have you ever seen any short track racing like this? Some 75% of the field still running and still on the lead lap with 5 laps remaining.
Well, I tell you what, there's quality care on one of the cars out there, but so far as the American Speed Association goes, the whole touring circuit definitely has quality cars and quality machines and quality drivers.
Can I mention Salem's July 16th date? Do you have a problem? And once again, race fans, if you like American Speed Association action, there's more ASA racing coming to the Tri-Cities, Tri-State area here. As July the 16th, Salem Speedway hosts the American Speed Association. Out of turn number 4 comes Mike Eddy in car number 88, the green flag. He is high in the air. 5 laps remain in the event.
Coming to the conclusion of the Kroger Bluegrass 300 and the American Speed Association. As they move down the backstretch area, it's Mike Eddy who opens up his largest lead in some time now, up to about 5 car lengths as they move on to the front straightaway.
Frank, Mike Eddy has been good on every restart right from the get-go. But then after a while, either he starts dropping back or Glenn Allen begins to get a good feel of the car and it goes forward. But it looks as if Glenn Allen Jr. has his work cut out for him. He may run out of time before the conclusion of the Bluegrass 300.
Well, I tell you what, back in the wintertime when Andy Vertrees and Kenny Stilger were considering building a larger track here at Louisville Speedway, they went to Rex Robbins and got his opinion on the racetrack to be built. They went to him, they built the racetrack, and Rex Robbins said, I will bring my American Speed Association to Louisville Speedway. They came, we've seen about the best race that we could ever see from this touring circuit, and Mike Eddy heads out of turn number 4, the veteran of the sport, once a winner in Louisville, and perhaps a winner again as we have one more lap to go. The white flag is out.
Tough break for Gary St. Amant in car number 7, a possible flat tire on the car. He is limping around. Something amiss on the 7 car, the wins forward as he's hanging on one more lap, but it looks as if he will go a lap down. He is struggling.
And the checkered flag is out, and Mike Eddy comes away with the win. Glenn Allen Jr. across the line at second. As we have the car slowing down onto the backstretch area, the Kroger Bluegrass 300 here tonight at Louisville Speedway is complete. And I tell you what, once again, a driver that won here once in Louisville has returned after many, many years, and he'll return to victory lane again here in Louisville, Kentucky. Mike Eddy in car number 88, the Goodwrench Performance Parts Pontiac, the winner of the race.
We need to have Barry to announce that they can't let the people down the track because there's another race to go yet.
Okay.